Have you ever noticed that some guys seem to constantly get laid, while others go on endless dates that go nowhere, and doesn't really seem to be tied to looks, money, or status? After watching these guys up close for years, I started to realize they all do a few very specific things that most guys are just not aware of. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what those behaviors are and how you can use them to go from regularly striking out to consistently getting results with women. Number 1, they flirt constantly. Guys who are consistently getting laid are constantly flirting throughout their day-to-day life, unlike the average guy, which has to go into flirting mode when he's on a date with a girl. For them, it just becomes second nature, like being fluent in a language rather than using Google Translate to get by. For me personally, I definitely was not naturally like this. Back when I first got into game, I barely even knew what flirting was. Then I discovered pickup and I saw some infield examples, and that gave me a rough idea of what flirting is supposed to look like. The next step was years of practice until it became easier and easier. But the biggest shift happened when it clicked that it doesn't really matter what anyone thinks about me. Therefore, there's absolutely no downside to me trying and failing. After that, flirting became fun, and that's when I got good at it. Fortunately, now you don't have to go far to find good examples. There's plenty right on this channel, like this.
Everyone here has looks, but nothing else.
Oh, thanks. You think I'm hot. I appreciate that.
Notice the vibe here. I'm genuinely having fun. Once you adopt that mindset, the rest just becomes reps and practice. Number 2, they take risks instead of playing it safe. Most guys are actually very timid with girls, especially those they find very attractive. When they're on a date, they're so worried about messing it up that they never take any social risks. They're always waiting for the perfect moment to kiss her, pull her to their place, or just move things forward. Guys who regularly get laid don't really care about messing up the date. They're playing to win, so they're always going to go for the kiss, for the pull. They're not timid, and that makes them very attractive to women. I used to struggle with this badly, and then I noticed something interesting. My close rate was significantly higher with girls that I was barely even attracted to compared to the girls I thought were hot. So I thought maybe chubby girls are just more DTF, but that was not it. The real difference is I just didn't care about losing those girls. So I took a lot more social risks, I escalated a lot more confidently, and once I started treating hot girls the same exact way, everything changed. That's the mindset you need to adopt. It's always better to try and fail than not try at all. No matter how hot she is, you need to say, fuck it, I'm playing to win. Number 3, they assume the girl likes them. If you listen to guys who struggle with women, you'll notice the same exact pattern. They're always saying, oh, this girl or that girl didn't like me. Guys who constantly get laid have this borderline delusional confidence where they assume that just every girl probably likes them by default. And this mindset shift changes everything, because instead of trying to win the girl's approval, which is a massive turnoff, they're just a lot more relaxed and confident. I definitely wasn't like that early on. I had pretty low self-esteem and assumed that most girls just didn't like me for whatever reason, and that wound up becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. Here's a pretty embarrassing story that I'm gonna share. When in college, I went out and got rejected like 1,000,000 times, and I was depressed and I was drunk, so I basically called one of the very few girls that I had sex with up to that point, essentially crying, and asked her, why do all the girls hate me except for you? And she told me this. She said that there's nothing inherently wrong with you, Alex, but if you're approaching girls with this defeatist attitude, they're probably picking up on that energy. I didn't fully understand that until much later, but through years of doing pickup and inner work, I was able to improve my self-esteem. Until eventually I got to a point where I started to believe that I'm actually pretty fucking awesome, and most girls will be lucky to have me. But even if one doesn't want me, I don't give a shit. That's the mindset you need to adopt if you want to be successful as well. Number 4, they don't get shaken by resistance or failure. No matter how good your game is, you're going to get rejected. In addition, girls will test you, pull back at times, and even temporarily reject you. Guys who struggle with women take every setback personally. They immediately start thinking, what did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? Why doesn't she like me? And girls can pick up on that energy, and they'll respond by giving them even more resistance. Meanwhile, guys who constantly get laid just laugh it off and keep going. They don't take it personally because they know it's just a part of the game. And that carefree, I don't give a fuck energy is incredibly attractive. The perfect example of that is actually Hank Moody from Californication.
Oh, did I just do what I think I just did?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so truly, madly, deeply sorry.
You know, and that doesn't change the fact that I now have a puddle in my lap.
Well, One could argue that it's not entirely my fault that you force grown men to make huge puddles in your lap.
As you can see, he definitely doesn't take resistance personally. He just stays relaxed, smirks, and keeps going. That's the mindset you need to adopt. Never get emotionally rattled by rejection, resistance, or shit test, and your results will drastically improve. Number 5, they screen heavily. Guys who struggle seem to try to make it work with every semi-attractive girl they encounter because they're in a place of scarcity and they're worried about losing her, and that results in a lot of time being wasted. Meanwhile, guys who get laid regularly realize that their time is the most precious resource on earth, and so they're going to screen heavily for girls that are just going to be down. For example, on Tinder, I do this by having a pretty sexual profile, as you can see here. This allows me to screen out most of the prudes without even having talked to them. Then I continue to screen by being flirty and making jokes, but then the next big part of this is I invite basically every girl I talk to straight over my place for a bottle of wine on my romantic balcony, and I don't even fucking drink. Whenever beginners hear this, they immediately ask, but what about all the girls who aren't going to be down? And that's literally the point. I want to screen those girls out. If it's just a safety issue, the girl's still going to be cool with meeting at a bar near my place. I'm friends with a lot of the other dating coaches out there, and we may have different techniques and styles. One thing we have in common is we all screen heavily, because we want to filter out all the girls who are going to make things difficult, who are going to barely invest, and who are just going to be likely to result in a waste of time. Here's a pro tip. It's much better to invest some of your energy and money up front into getting really good photos so you have a lot of options to choose from, rather than invest even more energy in trying to make it work with the very few matches that you do get. Number 6, they set up logistics in their favor. There's a saying in the military, which is the amateurs talk tactics while professionals study logistics, or something along the lines of that. Dating is not that different. Guys who struggle with women will agree to dates in random restaurants or bars near her place or just other inconvenient setups and just hope for the best. Guys who get laid regularly, they're not like that. They will stack logistics in their favor before the date even begins. That means either having the girl come straight to their place or a bar that's walking distance from their place. No halfway dates, no restaurants, no bars near where she lives. If a girl keeps insisting on one of those options, chances are she wasn't going to sleep with you anyway, so you might as well move on. A lot of dating success just comes from putting yourself in situations where the odds are in your favor. Number 7, they have an abundance mindset. This is the underlying trait behind everything we've talked about so far. It is much easier to flirt confidently, take social risks, screen aggressively, and just about everything else when you truly believe there are endless opportunities out there. Now, if you're a frustrated virgin, I know this is much easier said than done, because I personally used to be there too. Back then, every girl felt like my last chance. What changed for me was exposing myself to more volume. I started off by doing cold approaches constantly, and because I lived in a big city, there was always another opportunity around the corner. And then I got serious about improving my dating app photos, so I started having lots of options there too. Over time, my brain finally accepted that there are always more girls. And once you can really internalize that, dating becomes a lot easier. At the end of the day, the guys who get laid constantly aren't necessarily much better looking or richer than everyone else. They just behave differently. And once you can adopt these traits, you can improve your dating results very quickly. Let me know in the comments which one of these resonated with you the most. And if you want to start creating more abundance in your dating life right now, then check out my free Tinder guide, links in the description. It walks you through step by step how to get more matches, how to have better conversations, and just have more options, which makes implementing everything you learn here a lot easier.